Nice news, everybody.
A few times a week, Nicholas Radabaugh's at the range. As a special agent with the ATF, he has to stay sharp.
We do 3 rounds in 3 seconds coming from the holster.
Like he does with this Glock.
I'll just know to go on the buzzer.
But with a tiny adjustment.
Are we ready?
This standard handgun
You're ready?
can unload more than 30 rounds in 2 seconds.
I've got 15 years of law enforcement experience. I was an Army guy as well. I've never shot or handled anything as fast as what these Glock switches are.
But it isn't something law enforcement carries.
With this not attached, I pull the trigger, it's only going to fire once. This defeats that stopping mechanism that's proprietary to Glock.
Police and prosecutors are working to get these tiny devices off the streets.
It has a symbol of a well-known firearms manufacturer on the back of it. It appears to be a legitimate device. Absolutely is not.
The ATF says Glock switches arrived on the scene about 4 years ago.
If someone has that, then yeah, our officer is at a disadvantage.
In Indianapolis, IMPD is seeing more and more.
Glock switch makes something a fully automatic weapon, so we don't typically carry that.
The Marion County Prosecutor's Office has convicted 13 people for possession of a Glock switch since 2020. There were double the number of convictions last year compared to 2021. The prosecutor's office has 37 pending cases from 2022, with 5 filed just last month.
If you have a machine gun, you're subject to federal prosecution.
United States attorneys like Zachary Myers are joining the fight.
A Glock switch, a device that enables a regular firearm to fire as though it is a machine gun, that is a machine gun under federal law.
It's a new but not totally unfamiliar challenge for law enforcement.
The National Firearms Act, which is what these devices are prosecuted under. The NFA was implemented in the 1930s in response to the 1920s gangster violence with the Thompsons and the submachine guns, and we all have those images, right? It's the same thing we're dealing with now, but we're going to go after them just as aggressively as they did back in the old days. This is I would say, a bigger threat than even then.
Because they're much easier to conceal and get your hands on.
The 3D printers have changed the technology so that some of these types of devices are being printed in garages, basements, and that sort of thing.
And police say they're purchased illegally online.
And trying to shut down the websites and to undercover purchases of these, we're doing what we can. Aggressive prosecution is part of the solution.
To help keep communities and officers like Radabaugh safer.
Typically in law enforcement, we're behind the power curve anyway. So we're not going to be the first ones out of the holster when we're in the shooting a lot of the times. It's very scary.
But not a fight they're backing down from. In Indianapolis, John Durant, 13 News.